So in this video, we're going to be learning how to create a really simple web server in Python. Python actually comes with a built-in library just for this purpose, so it makes it really simple to create a web server in just a couple of lines of code. So you can see here I have a page that's being served from our web server, and it's being served from this directory called webserve. We have our server here, and we have test.html here. So if I try to go to another file, even if I just call it test, you can see it says file not found. And if I go to network and I refresh, you can see we're also sending back the 404 status code to say that the web page wasn't found. If we go to the index page, we also get a file not found error because there is no index page. So I can copy and paste this, and I can rename it index, and I'll just change this to index page. And now if I refresh, you can see we get our index page. So now we're going to learn how to create this really simple server. So this is all our server is. It's 20 lines of code. So the first thing we do is we go to the http.server module and we import http server and base http request handler. Those are built in to the Python HTTP library, so we don't have to do anything. We can just use them as they are. Then what we do is we create our own class called serve, and that's going to be the class that holds our server. And what we're doing is we're inheriting the methods from the base HTTP request handler. That's what this doGet method is. We can't rename this method. It's built into this class up here that we're inheriting from. So this method runs when we receive a GET request. And anytime you go to a web page in your web browser and you type in the address of that, you're sending a GET request to its server. So when we get a GET request, what we do is we check the path of the request and we check if it's a // That means they're on the index page. And if they're on the index page, we change the path to our index.html file. That's how we read the index page. The next thing we do is we try to read the file that the user is trying to access. So if the user tries to access test.html, they're really doing is they're trying to access this file on the web server. So what we do is we say file to open is equal to whatever file the user wants to access, and we say .read to load its text into this variable. We use these special brackets and the one character so that we can just get this part of the file name and we can skip this // So we read that file, and if it works, if it's successful, then the try block will end here and it will leave out the accept part. So if the file's found and it's read successfully, we want to send a 200 response. So a 200 response is the response every web page sends whenever you access a page successfully. So if I refresh, you can see the status code is 200. So if the file can't be read, then we go to our accept block and we say file to open equals file not found. So instead of displaying a file to the user, we just display the text file not found, and we send a response for a 404. That means the file wasn't found. So if I try to access a file that isn't found, /test for example, you can see we get 404 not found. Then what we do is we send this self.end headers method that is required by the base HTTP request handler class. And finally what we do is we write the contents of the file onto the screen. So to write it to the screen, we have to convert it to bytes. So we assume all of our files are encoded using UTF-8. So assuming that, we convert the text file to bytes using the bytes method, and we tell it that the text is originally stored in UTF-8. Then finally, all we do is we create our HTTP variable. We call it HTTPD because that stands for HTTP daemon, which is just what you call a program that runs in the background, because that's typically how web servers run. And what you want to do is call our HTTP server class. That's the server class that Python implemented for us. We give it a tuple with the address to host our server on, which is localhost, which is our computer, and the port we want to listen on. And then finally, we pass the serve class that we created, and that was how we customize the default functionality of Python's HTTP server. Then finally, we just run the serve forever method. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. The source code of all this will be on GitHub. If you have any questions, don't forget to email me, francis@highcode.org. But that's it for this video, and I'll see you next time.